Accessibility Network Eastern Michigan's logo appears on the screen. Disclaimer: our Assistive Technology program is just one of the ways that we are able to assist consumers in becoming more independent. We are not endorsing any of the products we demo. We are using them as an educational resource to show examples of existing technology available for people to use and help eliminate barriers.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to today's Accessibility in Your Community webinar. My name is Jeffrey Aston. I am a Assistive Technology Specialist here at Disability Network Eastern Michigan. Some things to note before I get started: Disability Network Eastern Michigan is not endorsing any of the products being demoed. The purpose of today's webinar is to educate and inform people about different types of assistive technology that may help people with disabilities overcome barriers. At the bottom of your screen, closed captioning is available. If you go to the bottom, you should see a closed caption button that says CC. You can go ahead and click there, and that will turn on captions. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat box, and we will make sure, hopefully, that they get answered. And with that, I will pass everything on to Gabi Munoz.
Everyone, my name is Gabi. I am Head of Business Development at Augmental. And today I want to talk about the MouthPad. The MouthPad is our flagship product at Augmental. We have created a hands-free Bluetooth mouse that, let me show it to you. There's the MouthPad. So it's a hands-free Bluetooth mouse that goes inside of your mouth. And once it's there, it lets you control a computer, a tablet, or a phone, or any personal electronic device. Like any mouse would do. You would have access to cursor control, left click, right click, click and drag, and scrolls. Now there's two ways of using the MouthPad. One way is once you introduce a MouthPad in your mouth and holes from your upper teeth, you can use the head mouse mode. And that means that when you move your head, the cursor will follow. That's how you will move the cursor. And then you will tap with your tongue, just like that, bringing your tongue to your palate. You will tap with your tongue for a left click. You will tap and hold and move your head for click and drag. And you will sip or do a sip gesture for right click. Now, a sip gesture, for those who are familiar with sip and puff systems, you already know what it is. For those who don't, which I expect no one here, but I'm going to explain it anyway. A sip is just like drinking water from a straw, same sort of suction. In the case of the MouthPad, we don't have any straw. So the suction actually comes from closing your lips and producing a small intake of air, not letting air through. That's how you create negative pressure, and that negative pressure will trigger what we would regularly do with our hands at the right click. Now, the head mouse mode is one of the cursor modes that is mostly used by our customer base, because most of our customers can move their head or their neck. But for those customers who cannot move their head, then you can also turn the mouth or use the MouthPad with the tongue cursor mode or the tongue mode. In that mouse mode, you will do everything with your tongue and sip gestures. And the way it works, I want to show it in a second. The way it works is placing your tongue on the edges of the trackpad. You'll just make contact, just touch, and that will trigger cursor movement. So for example, if I put my tongue here close to my front teeth and touch, the cursor will go up. If I touch here, the cursor will go down. And same goes for right, left, and diagonals. You can think of this trackpad a little bit like a joystick. It will not work. I mean, it's not meant to be used with swipes to move your cursor, like we do with our finger in our trackpad. It doesn't work like that. It works more like a joystick. You just bring the contact area to the edge, and that will trigger cursor control. Up, down, left, right, and diagonals. Now, in the tongue mode, in the tongue mouse mode, you will also tap with your tongue for left click, tap, tap and hold, and bring the tongue to the edges for click and drag, and then do a sip gesture for right click. Now, I'm gonna connect my MouthPad. I'm gonna show you what I just explained. I'm gonna share my screen in a second, but before that, I want to mention a couple of highlights that make the MouthPad unique from our perspective. One of them is that once it's inside of your mouth, it becomes quite invisible. As you can see, I'm using my MouthPad now. My appearance didn't change. I don't have any mount around me. I'm not wearing any glasses, any hats or stickers. I'm not using the camera from my computer, so I can use the MouthPad during online meetings. So invisibility, or the ability of concealing the MouthPad, is one of the values of the MouthPad. The other value is that it connects via Bluetooth, and it's plug and play, or I prefer to say pair and play. As far as you can pair it with your device, you can just control the device. There's no need to install any software. There's no need to set up or calibrate or spend time on getting the MouthPad ready to work. If somebody visits me with a tablet, if they allow me to pair via Bluetooth, I will control their device. I don't need any software or anything. There is a setup. We do have an application that helps customize the experience. But you can do that once, and once you do that, the MouthPad will always remember that. So no matter what device you connect to, the MouthPad will always use those settings. So you don't have to do that every time. Another advantage of the Bluetooth connection is that it's cross-platform compatible. Since it pairs via Bluetooth, you can pair it to all operating systems. It will work on any phone, on any computer, on any tablet, no matter the brand. Oftentimes, when customers ask me, "What can I connect the MouthPad to?" I bounce back with another question. It's like, if someone at the house has a handheld Bluetooth mouse, can they connect it to the desired device? Like, what do you want to control? Do you want to control a smart TV? Well, try to connect a handheld Bluetooth mouse. If you're successful with that, then you will be successful with the mouse. Do you want to control remote a toy? Can you do it with a handheld Bluetooth mouse? If you can, then you can with the MouthPad. If you cannot, then you cannot. For example, connecting to a PlayStation. Well, can you connect a handheld Bluetooth mouse to a PlayStation? If you are able to do that, then you're going to be able to connect the MouthPad. If you're not, then no. So again, it connects via Bluetooth. It's cross-platform compatible and it's invisible. And with this, I want to share my screen and show you the two modes, the head mouse mode and the tongue mouse mode, so you can see it in action. Okay, great. Hopefully, what you're seeing on your screens is the word Augmental, well, our logo, and a Google spreadsheet. Now, today I'm using a MacBook Pro. That's an Apple computer, and I'm going to be using voice control to access my Bluetooth settings and connect my MouthPad. Voice control is not our product. So the only product we have is the MouthPad, and is related to our cursor, to the mouse of the computer. So what I'm going to use right now is the combination of Apple and our device. Now, let's wake up the system. Wake up. Wake up. Show numbers. 13, 15, 48. Go to sleep. Now, I wanted you to see that and to see that my hands are here. I have not touched anything. And you just saw me connecting to my Bluetooth panel or connecting the Bluetooth mouse through my Bluetooth settings and closing that window using only my tongue. So you can see right after Bluetooth connection, I was in control of the mouse. Now, I hope that I have proven that there is no need for any app to be present or downloaded. That said, I want to open the MouthPad app just because I want to show you live feedback of what's happening inside of my mouth. I'm going to skip this for a second. Great, there we go. Now, in the center of the screen, what you see right now is a live feedback of my trackpad. I'm going to just hold this one. This is a prop, so this is a non-working device. I'm just going to hold it here with the purpose of showing you what's happening in the screen, in my screen. So that trackpad that you see lighting up in blue is this trackpad inside of my mouth. So when I touch the bottom part of the trackpad, you can see how the mouse goes down and how my live feedback shows with the blue lighting where my tongue is, right? Now, if I want to bring it up, I want to bring the cursor up, I'll touch there. And that works with any direction. Now, I'm going to work on the spreadsheet. I'm going to just make that screen or window a little bit bigger, and I'm going to zoom in because it's quite small. So I want you all to be able to read what's in the chart, in the table. Great. Now, the way I'm operating the mouse, as you've seen, my tongue has been touching around the trackpad. You've seen how with the blue light was indicating where my tongue was being at all times. I don't know if you've noticed, but every time I wanted to do a click, what I did was tapping with my tongue. So you're going to see my trackpad lighting up in blue. The whole trackpad is going to light up in blue color because I'm not going to aim for any specific area. I'm just going to bring my tongue up without thinking where to aim. I'm not aiming in any specific place, just bring the whole tongue up. And that's how I'm selecting cells. That's a regular left click. Now, let's do a copy paste. To do a copy paste, I'm going to need the right click menu, and that is a sip gesture. So I'm going to close my lips and make an intake of air so we can open that right click menu. Hopefully you've seen that. Ooh. Great. Now, the combination of touching the trackpad edges, tapping, and sipping allows me to copy paste or do any combination of right click and left click. Now, let's do a click and drag. There are different ways of doing click and drag with the MouthPad. One would be clicking and then holding and then moving your tongue to the edges. And then once you remove your tongue from the trackpad, that will drop the object. And then we have another way of of doing click and drag, which I prefer, and that's sticky click and drag. That's the one that I'm going to show you now. And the way that I achieve that is doing a long click. So I can do a tap for left click, just like this. That's a left click. But if I tap and hold, I'm going to trigger click and drag. And that's going to allow me to either select a bunch of cells or move any object like any click and drag would do. I'm going to move, for example, I'm going to move the application. Right now, I don't need to touch. I don't need to keep my contact. I don't need to keep touching my trackpad with my tongue. Right now, I trigger click and drag by a long tap, and every movement that I do right now will still be my click and drag mode. So for me to finish click and drag, I'm going to do a second tap. For example, here, and that's the end of click and drag. Now, I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to select a bunch of cells to do another example of click and drag. Right? And that's how you do click and drag. You've seen click and drag, left click, right click. Um, right now, I'm gonna go to my settings, and I'm gonna activate the head mouse mode, so you can see also the performance when you're able to move your head and control the mouse in that way. Great. So after I go to my settings and click head as the cursor mode, right now my cursor is following my head movements. And as you can see, one of the highlights of this head tracker or head mouse is that not only if it follows my head movements, but also it lets me use my tongue and my sip gestures for left click and right click and click and drag. So if I tap with my tongue, just like this, that's how easy I can move and select cells. If I want to do a sip, that's how easy I can do a click, right click, and another click. And then click and drag again is a longer tap. And that's how easy I can click and drag, moving my head and touching the trackpad with my tongue. Now, this head mouse have also a very special feature, which is a recentering feature. Now, the way this works and makes the mouth, I believe that it's a feature that makes the mouthpad very special, is that when I'm using head tracking or the head mouse mode, if I only touch the trackpad, and I'm not making a tap or a long tap, I'm just gently touching, making contact, see what happens. See how my trackpad lights up in blue, but see what happens with the interaction. It freezes, it stops. And that's relevant. Why? That's relevant because that allows me to recenter. For example, if I'm aiming with my head to the center of the screen, but my cursor is on my bottom right corner, what I can do is I can touch with my tongue, aim at my bottom right corner, and now my cursor is somewhat in the center. So I can look from my center, I can aim my head to wherever my mouse is to make it the center. Another advantage or another value of this recentering feature is the ability of sort of ratcheting or moving across multiple monitors. Let's imagine that my head motion only gets me here, but I still want to go to the left side of the screen, but my head or my neck doesn't allow me to turn further. One thing I could do is I could touch with my tongue, go back to my original starting point, and continue going left. That way, I don't have to use like traditional recentering techniques, or I can just focus on head, tongue, and I can go across multiple monitors. I don't know of any head mouse that can do that. So I believe that for those customers that want to have like multiple screens, it is a very valuable feature. Another feature that we have is the scrolling. I'm going to activate it. Here it reads scroll with tongue gestures. If I activate that, I want you to notice that now when I touch the edges of the trackpad, because I'm using head mouse mode, right? So now the edges are not used to move the cursor because I'm doing it with my head motion. So now these edges are available for different interactions. And this is going to be scroll down, scroll up, scroll right, scroll left. You can see my trackpad lighting up in blue to understand like what area of the trackpad I'm touching in order to trigger the different scroll directions. Now, what you have seen is only the first step towards what we're working on. We're working on full customization of these edges in terms of interaction, or of this trackpad in terms of interaction. Right now, we do have scroll down, scroll up, scroll right, and scroll left. But hopefully by the end of the year or in 2027, we're going to have the possibility or a different app that will allow customers to define what do you want to happen when you actually make tongue contact here. So this could be scrolling, but it could be also like keyboard output, meaning imagine that you're working with Office, with Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, right? There's a lot of Control Copy or Control C, Control V, Control X for cut. You could perfectly assign Control C, Control V, or like any output that you desire. If you're a gamer, you could actually assign, if you're familiar with PC gaming, you're using your left hand on the keyboard, and that's WSAD, and then your right hand on the mouse. So one way that we could have or that we could use is assign the keys WSAD, and then right hand is your head. So you would have like almost full access to a full setup of PC gaming with only one mouthpad. That's something that we're working on. We don't have it right now, but it's a feature that will be released as a software update to all of our customers. Something else that we're also working on is the device switch feature. And that is something that will also come or will be rolled out through our app. And that will be like, imagine, it's still not decided how is it going to look, but I wanna imagine it now that it's going to be like a drop-down menu in which you can see your devices. Imagine your computer, your tablet, and your phone. And then if you click in any of these devices, you will switch your connection from whatever you're using to that device. Imagine right now, I'm using my computer. Imagine somebody calls me. I could just go here to my app, look for my switch device, drop down menu, look for my phone, click on my phone, and that would give me access or connection. It would change my connection from my computer to my phone. So I would immediately start controlling my phone with the same mousepad just after that click. And then because we will encourage having the app also on the destination devices, if you open the app on your phone, you can go back, you can select computer, and then the connection will jump back to the computer. So right now, the way of doing that is turning off Bluetooth or unpairing the device and forgetting the device in the computer and then pairing it with your phone. That might require like an incredibly skilled performance using Siri or voice control or the help of someone. So in order to avoid that and make it a little bit more simple, we're working on this feature that hopefully will help out a lot. Um, Regarding features and functionality, I've shown you most of what the MouthPad can do. And I'd like to speak now about where are we as a company and where is the MouthPad as a product. So we, as a company, we have been fairly successful in terms of marketing. We released a video in 2023 that went viral all over the world. And right now we have a wait list with more than 5,000 people requesting a mouthpad. So because we cannot produce those many mouthpads fast enough, we have decided not to offer a purchase possibility in our website and only invite customers to buy. And we're prioritizing people with disabilities. So we're only selling mouthpads to people with disabilities first. We're prioritizing people with motor skill impairment. And despite of reducing the number of customers that we serve, we still have a somewhat long queue because we also have like a lot of customers or potential customers with disabilities. So if you want to buy a mouthpad now, which is invitational only, which is talking to us or talking to clinicians such as yourselves, because I can share a purchase link with you that I will ask you only to share to people with disabilities, please. So after you buy a mouthpad, you still have to wait from 4 to 6 months. Oh, there you go. You still have to wait from 4 to 6 months for us to produce the mouthpad. We're working on accelerating our production capabilities to shorten that lead time. But as of today, that is our current reality. The mouthpad cost $1,500. And that does not include tax, and that does not include a intraoral scan that is needed for us to produce a mouthpad. Now, the intraoral scan can be taken at a dentist, and we're not charging for that. We're not handling that because, back in the day in 2023, we did. But then we got a lot of customers who were asking, like, hey, I have a friend who's a dentist and can make the scan for free. Can we just waiver that part for me? So we decided making the mouthpad cheaper, and we brought it down to $1,500 and let customers manage the scan for themselves. The scan costs from $50 to $150. But again, if you know someone at a dentist office, the cost of a scan is just the labor work of doing the scan or taking the scan, and that's like a 10-minute process. So if you know someone at the dental office, you can get that for free. Now, I want to mention the battery of the mouthpad because it is related to the usability of the product. So the mouthpad battery goes from 4 to 6 hours, and that is okay to most of our customers. Most of our customers will use the mouthpad in the morning, will charge it during lunch. The mouthpad charges in 1 hour and a half. So they will charge the mouthpad during lunch, use it in the afternoon, charge it during dinner, and that's pretty much it. But for those who use the mouthpad for work or for college or just want to have a backup, what we're doing is we're encouraging them to buy a bundle of 2 units, so they can have like one at the charger and one in the mouth at all times and keep swapping them. And that bundle costs $1,900. Again, the MouthPad can only be purchased by invitation, just because we cannot produce those many. So we ask clinicians to not share our purchase link unless they believe that the MouthPad can benefit the end user. We do have a customer eligibility criteria that we encourage all clinicians to read, also end users to read. And that includes something that I'm going to bring up because it's a frequent asked question. We're not serving mouthpads to individuals under 18 years old just because their mouth are still under development. So they will outgrow the mouthpad. And we don't want that. We also don't have clinical evidence on how the mouthpad might or might not impact the growth or the health of a growing mouth. So we don't want to get involved in that. So we consulted with dentists, and we're fairly confident to say that after 18 years old, our mouth doesn't change that much. So we're selling mouthpads only to individuals with 18 years old or more. Um, I think that is pretty much all. We do have now we have 175 customers, and the list is growing. We're still only serving people with disabilities. And oh, one more thing is that when I mentioned that the wait list after you buy a mouthpad goes from 4 to 6 months, there is one exception. For customers with ALS, we deliver within 1 month. That's the only exception that we're doing in the company in terms of production priority. Of course, we're going to be sensible and sensitive to any case. So we're a small team, so we can process one-offs. So if individuals are in an excruciating, urgent situation, we might be understanding each person's case. And that's pretty much it. If you have questions, I would love to answer the questions. If you want me to perform any task, I'm also happy to do so. As you can see here in the app, there is a pause button. I could have clicked that while I was giving you the speech. So my mouse would have been under control. I forgot to mention that, sorry. That pause button is also very useful for moments in which you might want to drink water or just take a phone call or have a long chat. If somebody's entering your room or your office or just visiting you and you want to have a chat, but you don't want to take the mouthpad off, you can pause interaction like this. Either clicking that button or doing a long sip. That will also trigger the pause button. And with this, I finish the presentation. And if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Gabi, we do have one question, and the person is asking, how do you type word?
How do you type?
Word, so like letters or word, as if you were using a keyboard or so.
Yeah, do you have a way to bring a keyboard up, or how did you like type those words that are in those fields?
Right. I'm going to show you how I would do it. Although that is not that's not going to be our product. So the mouthpad is a mouse, and normally for me to type, I would use either a keyboard or a virtual keyboard or voice control in the dictation mode. However, with the mouthpad, you can come here and and bring up the virtual keyboard. And the way I would type something, for example, would be, well, if it's a password and you want to be private about it, you can do it like this. Why not? Letter by letter, but that's the way you would do with any mouse, right? So you go and click on any symbol, number, or letter using your mouse. But if I want to be faster, normally what I would use is dictation. I'm going to wake it up. Wake up. Tell Corten to close the door after he leaves the meeting room. Go to sleep. Great. That's how I would, type this sentence. And I don't know if you noticed, I actually made a mistake on purpose. Corten is one of our co-founders, Corten Singer, and voice control never picks his name up. The original sentence read, "Tell her to close the door," but I said Corten. So as you've seen, hopefully you've noticed how easy it was for me to just go and do a double click, select the word, and just type whatever I needed to type on it. For example, if also with the word tell, it was not capitalized. So it was fairly easy for me to, for example, click and drag a letter and capitalize it. Again, click and drag, as a reminder, is a long tap with your tongue. And then you move your head to select as many cells or letters or characters or whatever you want to click and drag on. And then you do another tap to release the click and drag. And that's what I did here, right? Now I did a double click to enter the sentence, to enter the cell. And now I'll do a long tap. That'll trigger the click and drag. I move my head a little bit. I do another tap. And that's how I selected the thinnest letter that we can find, a T or an I. Oh, wrong cell. Me tongue, so we can see how it changes. Yeah, so that's how I would type. I would use voice control. I would use dictation, which actually brings is a great segue for me to speak of our next product. Do you have another question? Otherwise, this is perfect just to speak about what we're working on, which is related to typing.
Question.
Yes.
Given all the technology and that it's customized, these prices seem affordable, but do you know if any of your customer base has ever been able to get it reimbursed through insurance?
That's an excellent question. Thank you for making that. Because that lets me bring up something that is important. The MouthPad is not a medical device, so you won't be able to get reimbursement with it unless it's for an accessory and it comes with a pack. And this is something that we're recently learning. Normally, when I speak to an end user or to a clinician, I suggest that they access alternative funding such as vocational rehabilitation, nonprofit grants, or different, I don't know, for example, the telephone equipment distribution program in some states also will cover the 5 disabilities, including motor impairment. So there are some funding sources out there that people with disabilities can access to, but not so much related to medical devices. We were just talked, or someone at Forbes AAC were telling me that when they sell their augmentative and alternative communication iPad or tablets, they oftentimes sell them with accessories, normally switches. And they were saying like, hey, switches are not medical devices either. And the reimbursement gets everything in the pack. So I think that there is a case to sell, for example, an AAC device plus a mouthpad as an accessory and get everything reimbursed. But that's a little bit out of my, I'm not going to say out of my league, but out of my experience. We have not have had any, sorry, that grammar was awful. We didn't work with a customer who went through that process, So I don't have the experience. I don't know how it works very well, but I've been told that it works. Another funding source that I forgot is the VA. If the customer is a veteran, then that's incredibly easy. I'm gonna say easy because the vendor registration system with the VA is like hours, and with vocational rehab, it's different. It might take a little bit longer. Um, but yeah, that's um, that's what we know in terms of funding. Something that we also um, that we're also able to do, and this is because of our lead time, because customers have to wait, let's say, long to get a mouthpad after they buy it. We don't want them to wait for their funding as well. So one option that we offer is, because some vocational rehab departments will get you funding like in a matter of days, and they're great. But some vocational rehab departments will take months. So in order to avoid that double wait, something that our customers do is they pay out of pocket first, and then we put them in the queue. So those 4 to 6 months start counting. And at the same time, they pursue their funding. And that might take a few weeks or even months. Imagine, let's say, 3 months. Now, when the funding comes in, we will fully refund every cent to the end user who made the down payment. That way, they don't have to wait for 3 months for the funding and then 4 to 6 months for the mouthpad, total of 9 to 13 months, right? Sorry, 7 to 9 months. That's a way that we have, so they don't have to wait so much. But yeah, those are like tricks that we can do to get a better waiting time. Any other question?
One more. How do you install the software updates that you were talking about? How will it
Great.
get in there?
That's amazing. Great question. I don't know if you noticed, when I opened the app, the first thing that came out was like a software update prompt, and I clicked later. You can check that in the video later on when the video of this session is available. So when the app opens, if there is a software update, they will let you choose. Do you want to update, or you want to click later, and you have the option of updating later. So new features will be rolled out through software updates like that. Just that easy. Excellent question. Thank you.
I have a question for you, Gabi.
Yes.
And that is, once the person gets their mouse pad, do they receive training? And also, on average, how long does it take someone to learn how to use it?
Thank you for that question. I want to show you something. Here we go. Okay. That's an excellent question, and I appreciate very much you making it. After you receive the MouthPad, we do have an onboarding platform. Show you. Wake up. Onboarding. Go to sleep. Okay. So this is our platform. Here you can learn everything from fitting your mouthpad to do left click practice, right click practice, like all the gestures, get familiar with everything. It comes with video tutorials. This is Gordon. This is one of our co-founders, Gordon Singer. And he teaches you through video tutorials. If you have great difficulty with this onboarding platform, which is very easy to use, you can also schedule one-on-one calls with our support team. And then one of the things that I like from this onboarding platform is that it has this game, and this game is like the NeuroGrid or the Neuralink grid, which, if you're not familiar with, is a guacamole game. So you hit as many targets as you can, in 60 seconds, and that will give you a score. And this is very fun because we have created a league in which all customers are fighting to get their best scores. There's 67 pages, sorry, entries from different customers trying to get on top of that list. It's very fun. It keeps everyone engaged and competing with each other. Sorry, and getting better. So I think it's a very fun way to learn and be playful or enjoy games while learning how to use the mousepad. So long answer short. After you get your mousepad, or at the time that you get your mousepad, you will have access to this. Oh, that's a low score. Sorry. You will have access to this onboarding guide, and if that's not enough, you can schedule one-on-ones with our support team. So we are very vested into or invested into all of our customers being able and knowing how to use the mousepad and getting the greatest experience. This is our first product. So the success of the company is very related or very tied to having customers who are enjoying the mousepad and they know how to use it and they get the best out of it. So yeah, that's why we have provided with this platform that they can use in at their own pace, in their own time, with no one watching, no pressure. And then after that, if they need extra support, we're happy to help. Excellent question, Jeffrey. Thank you.
I do have a question.
Yes.
I'm wondering what the warranty is and what is the life expectancy of this device?
Great. That's also a very good question. The warranty is 1 year. And of course, again, we'll be sensible to extraordinary situations. But if it breaks because of a manufacturing issue, for sure, it will be returned and rebuilt or provided with a new one. The expected life of a mouthpad is 3 years, which actually makes the mouthpad a little bit more expensive than any assistive technology that would last, I'm not going to say forever, but more. One of the limiting factors of the mouthpad, we believe, because we have not had any customer using the mouthpad for 3 years, but what we believe will limit the mouthpad is the battery. So the battery have 500 cycles. So it has the same life cycle as the iPhone battery or a phone battery. It's 500 cycles. So after that, the battery life will start shortening. So in our case, for example, it goes from 4 to 6 hours, right? A phone will last for the whole day. So you will charge it once. Our device, you might charge it 3 times every day. So if your phone, after 6 or 7 years, your battery will be like unusable, right? It'll be like every 2 or 3 hours, you're going to be willing to charge it. And that's going to be annoying, and you're going to be willing to change it. If that happens in 6 to 7 years, because you charge it once a day, imagine if you have the same number of cycles and you charge the mousepad 3 times a day, you can expect 6 split 3, 2 or 3 years of a healthy mouthpad battery life. So that's what we expect. What we expect the mouthpad to last. That's also another reason to buy the bundle of 2 units that will double the usage or split the charging frequency in a day per device. And since the second unit, it's $500 additional dollars. I think it's worth the marginal price. But that's an excellent question. Thank you for making it. Please, more questions, because every question is making me talk about details that I know and that I might have not mentioned. So I'm loving this. Somebody have any other idea or worry or question, please go ahead and ask. I'll be happy to scratch my brain and try to get the information for you.
Building on the question that was just asked, when the battery dies, if someone needs it or wants it, replace after that, do they go on a waiting list, or are they able to request it to be reordered because they already have their file, out of
Yeah.
curiosity?
Yeah. Well, after the battery dies or you want a replacement, you have to buy a new mouthpad. Just like when your battery dies in your iPhone, you'll probably buy a new phone. Um, Unfortunately, we have not found a way of replacing the battery. Every time that we tried, um, we break it. So the encapsulation is made out of dental grade resin, as you can see. So yeah, we have not found a way yet to replace that. So you have to buy a new unit. Um, for some reason, because of this question, I have thought of another piece of information that I would love to provide. The mouthpad, as you can see, it's a custom-made device. That means that you cannot try it before you buy it. Now, since we are selling only to people with motor impairment, we're very confident of the value of the mouthpad the value that the mouthpad can provide. So what we're offering is a 30-day full refund guarantee to encourage people to try it. This way, you can buy the mouthpad, try it. If you don't like it, just send it back and we'll fully refund um, the customer. We have tried actually to come up with universal, um, all all fitting mouths, like a universal device that anyone can just chew on, maybe, and will fit any mouth. But we have not come up with that solution yet. So far we still need the intraoral scan and making custom-made devices. Hopefully one day we will come up with a non-custom device and we'll be able to offer it.
We have one more question in the
Yes.
chat, and that is, how is the device for differing mouth, tooth, bridges, or other dental devices? How adaptable is it?
That's a great question. The mouthpad fits most of the dental work after the dental work is done. For example, with dentures, like the mouthpad is extremely lightweight, so it can be used on dentures. And we are trying now with our first customer with no teeth. Um, Results are still pending. I'll let you know once we have a solid conclusion. But I'm very excited because yeah, there's a lot of customers in the VA who are not young, let's put it that way, and they don't have teeth. So that would open up our possibilities quite a lot. There's one thing that we are cautious about, and is that if you will have a teeth alignment treatment, we always encourage customers to wait because their mouth will change. So if you take a scan and we produce the mouthpad and you have an Invisalign or I don't know, a teeth alignment treatment, when you receive your mouthpad, it will not fit your new teeth alignment. So that's something that we recommend. Also, we recommend not eating with it. You might crack it, and then not drinking anything different from water. That is mostly for hygiene purposes. If I would say also material decay, like everything affects the mouth, but so like any other object, the more stuff or the bigger the exposure that you bring to the mouthpad, to other external materials or substances, the easier or the more probability it will have a faster decay. That's what we recommend. Only drinking water. Just think about, and also let's just speak about how to clean the mouthpad. Just think about all the features that the mouthpad have. The mouthpad right now is cleaned with toothbrush and toothpaste. So getting all the material, all the sugars and stuff that will remain there if you drink, I don't know, Coke or coffee or whatever beverage that is not water, it will be hardly possible to get 100% out. So, maybe things will start growing and or affecting the material. That's why we don't recommend. drinking anything that is not water. Besides toothbrush and toothpaste, you can also clean the mouthpad with non-alcoholic mouthwash. That's the other method.
So it is 12:57. We have time for one more question before we have to end the webinar. So feel free to ask if you have any other questions.
Would you like a little feedback?
Yes,
Is that
please.
okay? So what comes to mind, I do information referral, so I speak to many people a week on assistive technology, and most of our clients have financial need. So in getting a grant, I don't think I've ever seen a grant that would allow a person to prepay. They typically clearly state in the grant, you cannot prepay or pre-order assistive technology. That's because of fraud, and they want to work directly with the supplier and pay them. So that's one of my concerns right there.
That's not a problem with vocational rehab. We're actually very used to this kind of methodology. We also work with with purchase orders or purchase authorizations, especially when it comes to government or federal agencies.
Mhm.
That's no problem. Yeah, that shouldn't be an issue. Different thing would be if it's a private institution or an end user. Those are exceptions that we're not so capable of doing. But with governments or again federal agencies, we can work with payment authorizations. No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if there any other questions, got 2 minutes left, and then we'll have to end the webinar.
Just wondering what you were mentioning earlier, you have coming attractions, something you wanted to share with us that was in the works.
Yes.
What was that?
Yes, we're
One
working.
person just asked, sorry, go ahead, someone else asked something, I didn't hear.
Okay, very quick. We're working on a necklace. There's going to be a smart microphone that will only listen when you whisper, not when you talk. So our customers will be able to make notes in class while the teacher is talking. So the teacher voice doesn't interrupt or get into their dictation. They will only listen when you whisper. So all the surrounding voices will not get into your dictation. The microphone will only listen when you whisper. And also you're going to be able to dictate all day without, I'm not going to say bothering, but without everyone listening to you all day and knowing what are you doing at all times. So we're working on that next. If there was another question, I'm happy to answer. But again, I want to emphasize like how powerful the Whisper microphone and the MouthPad are going to become. It's going to be mouse and keyboard in a solution that hopefully, at least for students and people who work in offices, is going to help a lot, or just people at home that don't want to bother or be bothered by songs, voices, or whatever noise outside.
I think a lot of these adaptable tools can be used by everyone. Like when you're describing that necklace, that would have been so helpful in college. So I'm really grateful that future students would be able to use that.
I'm so happy that you bring that up because my co-founders wouldn't be happier if they hear that this will also help people without disabilities. That would open our business possibilities quite a lot. And that will help support our mission, which is helping people with disabilities. So thank you for that insight. Hopefully, half of the world, at least, or I don't know, hopefully more people will share your perspective and will be willing to use it. It's not going to be custom made, so hopefully it's going to be easier to provide almost instantly, maybe Amazon, like something very quick, and for a fraction of the price that we're selling the MouthPad for sure.
I'm going to put my email address in the chat box again, so if you have any other questions, I can send them over to Gabi, or Gabi, if they have questions that any of the attendees can reach out to you too.
Yeah, I would love actually to have access to whoever who wants to receive our flyer and the payment link, like the purchase link. I know that you're in touch with people who might benefit from the mouthpad, so it would be in my best interest that you have access to making this connection. If you come across someone who can benefit from the mouthpad, please share that link with them or talk to them about us. I'll be happy to do this demo to anyone. We do this every day. We do one-on-ones to anyone who's interested. So if you know someone, just share my email, share the purchase link, share whatever resource can help them decide, or just talk to me, and we'll do our best to provide with as much information on both the mouthpad, other assistive technology that works very well with the mouthpad, like the SwitchBot and Voice It. There's so many apps and cool technology out there that, in combination with the mouthpad, are amazing. So I'll be happy to talk about that with end users and talk about funding sources and get involved as much as we can. Thank you, Jeffrey.
I was just thinking too, maybe it would be helpful if following this webinar, perhaps sometime later this week or next week, if Jeffrey or I sent out an email with resources and links to everyone who registered for this program.
That would be great. From my end, that would be great.
I had actually just asked in the chat if there's a good link or video for, this was a great demo, but a short video of some kind that I could send on to teammates or bosses, if there's anything you recommend, Gabby, but same to what Janine is saying.
I love this request because we just got approval from one of our potential customers. I did this demo exactly the same with them.
Of course.
So you can also see his live reaction and his questions as an end user. And it's a great demo because it shows all the functionality as well. You're going to have this video as well as a demo. If I'm not wrong, Jeffrey, like he's going to post it in their YouTube channel. So I think we're going to have quite a lot of resources. Something else that we're working on, hopefully is going to be out by the end of the year, is we're going to launch the MouthPad Academy, which will teach how to use your computer and your devices with the MouthPad. So it's gonna be tips, not about the MouthPad, but about the accessibility features, like this virtual keyboard, right? Somebody asked me, like, how do you type with a MouthPad? Then the tip would be, okay, you go to the accessibility menu and pull out the accessibility keyboard. Some people are not aware. You've seen the show numbers command with voice control to access my Bluetooth settings. Some people don't know about that. So all those resources will be shared soon, hopefully, through our website. Those are going to be public, hopefully in the next few months. But I'll be happy to share all the resources that we have of today. Jeffrey, I'm going to leave it up to you to organize or find the best way to connect me with all the folks who attended this webinar. Yeah, happy to keep the conversation going.
Thank you so much. What a great demo.
So we are 5 minutes after one. One person just asked a quick question, Gabby, and then we'll finish that. The question was, did you have the device in during the last half of the talk?
Say that again? Did
you have the mouse pad in your mouth during the last half of the talk? Someone asked.
This one?
All right.
Yes. It will be, you can also check the video. I never took it off. That's actually a very good question. With me, or with my mouthpad, you can barely notice, I have a lisp when I use the mouthpad, a little bit. Not just because I'm Spanish and I say Barcelona, but also because when I bring my mouthpad, there are some letters, some syllables, some phonemes that are affected because of the mouthpad. Now, I want to bring something up. There are some customers who will experience a bigger lisp than this, and that depends on the shape of the palate, how concave, how wide, and how long it is. It will produce a different feeling and a different voice or a different lisp, I would say. So so far we we cannot anticipate who will have a bigger lisp and who will have a smaller lisp. One thing I can say is that nobody has returned the MouthPad because of the lisp that it produces. So far, so good. But yeah, you can expect maybe a bigger lisp than the one that I'm showcasing.
Thank you, everyone. Feel free to leave. We will stop the webinar.
Thanks for watching. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. For more information about us, visit our website at www.dnemichigan.org.